Hey guys, welcome to a brand new analysis. Of course, Akariss here. And as you no doubt can tell by the title of the video, today's analysis will cover a smaller subset of unit roles because honestly there's not that many to cover here. So you may as well consider this the glorified Reinhardt video because honestly Reinhardt is still a dominant force in 2019. And yes, he did just get a brand new alt, and yes, he's for free. If you play 5-star, all you need to do is like a couple of quests, really easy quests, you get him for free. So what we're gonna do is definitely touch on Reinhardt and why he's so good, but I will acknowledge both La Rochelle and Ursula also being Blue Tome Cavaliers in their respective rights. And if the CYL refines are anything to go by, both of these characters might have some good refines in the future. Now, GHB refines haven't really happened since Navarre, so I'm kind of holding my breath for that one. But La Rochelle, definitely with that Evaldi tome, with the way they treated the CYL refines, I could see some really good stuff coming in the future for Generation 2 near 2018 units like this. So, with that being said, if you actually compare the stat spread of these three units, Reinhardt is really different. And on first impression, you probably look at Reinhardt's stat spread and you would think it's not so good. Even I would assume that. But it all comes down to availability and his preference tome. So that's definitely the thing that carries him and how that functions. Along with being a good color and good mobility through being a Cavalier unit. Unfortunately, when you compare Ursula and La Rochelle, I'm sorry Ursula fans, but really Ursula has like nothing going for her. Like absolutely nothing. There is absolutely no reason to use Ursula over La Rochelle, unfortunately. Maybe HP, if you try to bump up her HP to avoid like Tactics Room and Panic Manners, that's the only thing I can think of that would give Ursula a place. But La Rochelle with IV choices can do anything Ursula can, and to make Ursula viable, she's going to need a weapon refine in the future. So let's go look into builds, some samples, and how you actually use these characters in a proper way. Of course, my coverage does focus on Ether Raids, as it always has, because that's where your investments count. For you La Rochelle lovers, I don't see an offensive use for La Rochelle, but you can definitely use her as a support unit. And this is kind of interesting because you can choose to have her support probably anything, any stat you want except defense, like a plus attack IV, a plus speed IV, and what I've chosen here is a plus res IV, and definitely set her up to soak that specific thing. And mobility is nice. Like I have to admit, when Gunther had a bonus season, and like the 3 movement is so useful for picking up Ether. The chilling seal was really good, and that kind of gives you some flexibility. I suspect the sabotage skills may come out in the future, and that's why these videos will be relevant in the future. These builds are sample, use them as they are, and really adapt to that sort of thing. If sabotage skills become a thing in the future, units like this end up being very good as supportive options because you just give them a sabotage, whether that's in the B or the seal slot, and you have yourself a really good support unit, along with soaking chill res, which is the most dominant thing you want a support unit to soak. You want them to soak this. So you're not using Evaldi here, but the brand new Silver Goblet definitely makes Blue Tomes overall good supportive options, because now they can run like double Distant Guard through here. As you can see, Distant Guard plus Silver Goblet, which is pretty much Distant Guard, gives plus 8 res and defense to anything. You combine ally support with that, and it's about 9 to 10 defenses plus any drive of your choosing, and you got yourself like a 3 movement male Corrin almost. I mean, you're not getting all stats, and you're nowhere on the level of new Lancina's breath effect for specific units, but this is still nice. If you have a La Rochelle, you want to repurpose her, don't ignore that some of these units definitely can provide a supportive role. Moving on. Okay, I didn't even bother putting a build here on Ursula because honestly I don't see a place for Ursula at all in anything. So what I'm gonna really do is just talk about why you would invest in Ursula over La Rochelle or Reinhardt. And the reason for it is simple. You invest in Ursula if you need a bonus unit. That's pretty much it. If you want to get that AR bonus rotation covered, and it happens, I mean, like, it happens about once a year. You know, if they just keep rotating through all the Grand Hero battle units from start to finish. Ursa's on her second rerun as of this video, from her first rerun from the first time she was a bonus. You know, this pretty much means that Ursula should only be invested if you want to use her during her bonus rotation, which is okay. I don't really think there's much to it. It's nice to use her on defense when she gets those bonus stats. And that's about it. And you can also look forward and hope for a weapon refine, and honestly I suspect she would get one, considering she's completely overshadowed by Reinhardt and La Rochelle in almost every way. So there's not much going for her. Only invest if you love her, or you just want that bonus unit. Not really gonna say much more. There's not much to say. La Rochelle does every single build better, and offensively Reinhardt wins. And finally, the one and only, of course, Reinhardt. So Reinhardt is, and especially with this new HP attack seal, in a good place as a hit and run unit. One of Reinhardt's biggest problems for me was that he was weak to Panic Manor in Tactics Room because of his low HP stat. Panic Manor is less relevant because you can choose not to buff, but the HP stat when it comes to Tactics Room is extremely relevant. This is why I prefer Luis as well. So what you see here is a hit and run Reinhardt. What this means is with a dancer, and specifically a Heron, should you get the choice to do so, such as Rayson shown on the left. Don't take the build as any sort of relevance. That's not so important. It's mostly just a playstyle notable thing to realize here. Reinhardt, he's gonna hit a unit in the front line, and he's gonna get danced by a Heron or any dancer if they can reach him, maybe through Smite, and he's gonna reposition out. The best support units for this are Bridal Fjorm and Rayson, or pretty much Rayson because of 3 movement. You don't need Rayson side by side Reinhardt. You can just be like diagonally, and that pretty much overlaps the range, and you have yourself a 3 movement dancer with a 3 movement hit and run unit. This is extremely potent when people don't place their dancers on defense in ideal spots to cover hit and runs, so Reinhardt gets a lot better this way. The fact that he's Brave Tome and super high attack really puts him in a good spot. A lot of units on the front line are also kind of weak to Reinhardt. On Astra Season, with Naga supporting with Divine Fang, you have Dragon effect on this, so any Duma on the front line is absolutely dead, no matter, regardless of what his HP stat is. Sothis, while not weak to dragons, so in Light and Dark Season, if you decide to use Rein in Light, Rein has that triangle advantage against her, and she will die because she doesn't really have the res stat or skills, unless you're using Shield Pulse, to make her survive. So Reinhardt works pretty well against some of the common defense mythics as of this time for hit and runs, and I have used them a bit, but I just prefer Luis because bows are colorless and they cover a wider range of things. So next up, some variants of Reinhardt. If you guys have seen my Cavline video, or if you haven't, I highly suggest you go check that out. This is probably the best kind of Reinhardt you will get for that specific defense map. Ruptured Sky generally scales better than both Moonbow and Glimmer. Glimmer can outscale sometimes, but most units have high attack, so Ruptured Sky tends to be much better than Moonbow in a lot of cases. Low attack defense is not optimal, but it's just kind of like a foreshadow of what's to come, which is low attack res. And low attack res enables Reinhardt to do even more damage through the B skill. If you don't have that, chill res is a good option. But the most important thing to realize through Cavline, the defense, is ARD attack res. Could be attack speed later, which could be kind of weird on Reinhardt. I guess you could use like speed skills like Darting Blow or something, create a 40 speed Reinhardt. But honestly, AR defense, attack plus something. Easily plus 10 attack on turn 1, barreling down on your opponents, and Reinhardt becomes one of the most potent defense units in the game. And I can't believe I'm saying this in 2019 because it's still a thing. And I have ran into a lot of double, like this is not just Cavline, but double Dormer Reinhardts with like, 2 Dumas, basically giving him 6 attack. This one only has +3, by the way. You can actually bring it up to 55, and AR defense attack res could bring it up to 65. So you see where this is going. Quick Impulse, Rupture Sky, insanely high attack. It's kind of ridiculous, the sort of things that Reinhardt does. Like, if you hit chill res on a high res Micaiah, regular Micaiah, by the way, not Brave, because Brave does counter Reinhardt, regardless of what happens. Chill res on a regular Micaiah cannot beat Reinhardt, even though she seems like she's geared to do so because of the Thani Tome. And it just goes to show you how much this guy has come from his days. Of course, he is a PvE master, so you will absolutely destroy PvE content just by investing in such a good AR unit. Okay, and finally, if you've seen my Blue Tome infantry video, then you no doubt know what this is inspired by. The Blue Tome line is thankfully gifted, see what I did there, by the presence of Valentine's Lin carrying Blue Gift, which happens to have dual range in it. So dual range is good, and it's good because a lot of enemy teams rely on buffs, nukers, blade tomes like Nino through rally traps, and this means it's super good to have on a weapon. Combine that with a really bulky unit, which initially we saw Reinhardt's stat spread was like that. It's like pretty much Oliver on a horse. And you might think it's crazy, but I've actually seen a couple of these work, and it's not as bad as it looks. Also consider, because he's a Cav, and if we ever get any mythics that are Cavalier units and offense, this means you could potentially Ward Cavalier stack him or Goad Cavalier stack, which is kind of harder because it comes off Finn and Camu. But generally speaking, the Cav stacking can be really useful here, and there's definitely potential for him in the future, should he even fall off as an offensive unit. One thing I didn't mention, because I honestly don't think it needs to be said, but since we've kind of concluded everything here, I wanted to show off some of the 5 stars as well. And you got Groom Pent, you got Owen, you got Spring Catria, you got Valentine Soren. There is absolutely no reason to get any of these characters. None. None. No. Nope. Absolutely not. Maybe Owen for some quad shenanigans, and maybe Spring Catria because of her egg debuffing, which both can be potentially useful, like Spring Catria as a support unit, by like how La Rochelle was shown off at the beginning of this video. But beyond that, Reinhardt is king, and that should come as no surprise to anyone. What's shocking to me is that in 2019 this is still the case. So when we get Blue Tome Cavaliers in the future, be sure to review the video, and once again you'll realize that Reinhardt still does more than any of these other characters will do. Unless they do release Brave Reinhardt and he's Blue Tome Cav and he's a 3-star. I just don't see it happening. Easily mergeable, free 5-star, the best. With that being said, thank you so much. I appreciate all the positive feedback you guys have left me through this unit analysis, movement analysis series. As you guys are aware, there is still lots to cover here that haven't been done, and any of the niche roles, and when I say that I mean stuff like Flyer Tome. Obviously this is exclusive to Versa. Any of these that have just one role will be combined into their own specific videos. For example, Pane and Sala are only 2 beasts, and a Versa, and like Raisin is also a green flyer beast. A Versa is like a red tone flyer. I'm going to be combining these into a one type of video and talk about the unit individually rather than just making an Aversa video, which would be really short in essence. So you guys can look forward to that. I don't know when it'll happen, but thank you so much for all that feedback. Feel free to let me know in the comments below what you think. As always, I read almost every single comment you guys write. Give the video a thumbs up, sub to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next one. Love you all. Peace.